Hello, and welcome back. I'm Evelyn Hartwell. You're listening to Neural Newscast, where we try to, bring you some measured analysis on the day's most critical stories.
And I'm Noah Feldman. Glad to be here. We really do have a lot to unpack today, Evelyn. I mean, we're looking at everything from major legal shifts at the Supreme Court to some, frankly, pretty surprising celebrity news trending right now. But we're starting with that major ruling from the High Court. It's one that could fundamentally change how election rules are challenged in the United States.
Right. So the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that political candidates actually have the legal standing to challenge election laws before voting or even counting begins. This all stems from a case brought by Illinois Republican Representative Mike Bost and some other candidates. They were, challenging a state law that allows officials to count mail-in ballots that arrive up to 2 weeks after Election Day, as long as they're postmarked on time. Now, a lower court had initially ruled that Bost didn't have the standing to sue, but the conservative majority on the Supreme Court disagreed. It was a 7-2 vote.
Yeah, and what's particularly interesting here, Evelyn, is how this really opens the door for candidates to, get ahead of the game. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote that candidates have a concrete interest in the rules of their elections, and that's regardless of whether those rules specifically hurt their chances or, just increase campaign costs. But we are already seeing a lot of digital chatter from legal experts, people like Wendy Weiser at the Brennan Center. She's warning that this could, open the floodgates for frivolous lawsuits designed to undermine election confidence before a single vote is even cast.
And the dissent from the liberal wing was actually quite sharp on that exact point. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson argued that candidates should be held to the same actual injury requirements as any other litigant. However, scholars like Richard Pildes from NYU argue that resolving these disputes before an election actually creates more stability. He says it prevents the chaos of changing the rules while the counting is already underway. It's a fundamental shift in the timing of election litigation, for sure.
Totally. Now, while we are on the subject of legal battles, one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces is facing a very different kind of court date. Actor Kiefer Sutherland was arrested in Hollywood early Monday morning following an alleged confrontation with a rideshare driver. This story is, it's already tearing through social media because the details of what actually happened inside that car, they're somewhat conflicting.
The facts we have from the Los Angeles Police Department state that the 59-year-old actor was arrested near Sunset Boulevard and Fairfax Avenue. Officers responded to an assault report around midnight. According to the police, the investigation determined that Sutherland entered a rideshare vehicle, physically assaulted the driver, and made criminal threats. He was booked on a felony charge and released after posting $50,000 in bail.
It is worth noting, though, Evelyn, that a source close to the investigation is telling a slightly different story. They claim the confrontation was purely verbal. Apparently, it happened because the driver allegedly refused to let Sutherland out of the car after he tried to cancel the ride. The source says Sutherland asked to be let out 3 times. The driver refused, and when the police were called, Sutherland actually stayed on the scene and was cooperative. It's a messy situation for the former 24 star, and his representatives haven't actually commented yet.
Right. Regardless of the circumstances, the legal process is moving forward. There's a court date scheduled for February 2nd. Now, the driver involved did not sustain injuries that required medical treatment at the scene, but that felony threat charge remains the primary focus. While Sutherland deals with his legal hurdles in LA, the sports world is buzzing with a massive financial move on the East Coast.
Oh, the hot stove it is officially boiling. Pitcher Ranger Suarez has reportedly agreed to a massive 5-year, $130 million deal with the Boston Red Sox. This is a huge win for Boston fans who've been, clamoring for the front office to spend on elite talent. Suarez has been such a pillar for the Phillies, and moving him to the American League, that's going to be one of the biggest stories of the MLB offseason.
The economics of this deal are just significant. At $26 million per year, the Red Sox are banking on Suarez to provide long-term stability to a rotation that has, let's be honest, struggled with consistency. It's a clear signal that the organization is ready to compete with the heavy hitters in the AL East. We'll definitely be watching to see how this impacts the rest of the free agent market for starting pitchers.
It certainly sets a high bar for the remaining free agents, but that is all the time we have for today. I'm Noah Feldman.
And I am Evelyn Hartwell. Thanks for joining us. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com. Thank you for listening.